The Celestial Omnibus is a short story penned by Forster, which was initially featured in the collection titled The Celestial Omnibus and Other Stories published in 1911. This allegorical tale revolves around a young and pure-hearted boy who adores poetry and embarks on a magical journey to heaven aboard a bus. Forster, a British author, was renowned for his keen observations on classism, as well as the rigid gender and social roles prevalent in British society during the turn of the century. His notable works include A Room with a View, Howard's End, and A Passage to India. The narrative commences with an unnamed little boy residing in London, who has long been captivated by a peculiar signpost standing across the street from his house. The sign directs towards an empty alleyway and simply reads, "To Heaven." Despite the boy's curiosity, his parents dismiss it as a prank by mischievous young individuals, one of whom happened to be a poet named Percy Bysshe Shelley. Mr. Bones, a family acquaintance, pays a visit for tea. With a house brimming with books, his prior candidacy for city council, leadership of the local literary society, and acquaintanceship with members of parliament, Mr. Bones is perceived by the boy as an exceptionally wise individual. Thus, the boy seeks Mr. Bones' insights on the enigmatic sign. Mr. Bones reveals the sign's connection to Percy Bysshe Shelley, to the apparent astonishment of the boy's parents who had displayed unfamiliarity with Shelley's work. In response, the parents admit to owning 2 copies of Shelley's works, while Mr. Bones confesses to possessing 7 copies himself. With a smile, Mr. Bones bids farewell and departs. Following tea, the boy wanders towards the alleyway, where he encounters a paper affixed to the wall advertising the sunset and sunrise omnibuses. The notice apologizes for a change in the service and mentions the availability of same-day return tickets, excluding those obtained from the opposite end of the service. Perplexed, the boy realizes he has never witnessed any bus service on that street, nor had he ever noticed the sign before. Upon seeing the boy observing the sign, his father ridicules him, while his mother chuckles along. The boy remains convinced that the sign is nothing more than a prank, yet that night, his dreams about the bus service grow increasingly vivid and lifelike. Stirring from slumber before dawn, he becomes resolute in his determination to catch the sunrise bus. Summoning his courage, he ventures out onto the street. And lo and behold, when the sun begins to rise, the bus awaits him, drawn by 2 majestic horses. With trepidation mingled with excitement, the boy boards the bus and strikes up a conversation with the driver, who happens to be the 17th-century freethinker Sir Thomas Browne, although the boy remains oblivious to his true identity. Browne assures the boy that he need not pay for his ticket, sharing his own journey from being an unsuccessful physical healer to becoming a skilled healer of souls. The boy also learns that Shelley, the poet, drives another bus in a different place, and that there are numerous buses with diverse drivers. The bus traverses through a mist-shrouded landscape. The boy's vision obscured, he senses a gradual ascent towards an unknown destination. Browne, however, refuses to disclose the name of their final stop. They venture through a thunderstorm, and Browne inquires if the boy feels fear, to which the boy responds with unwavering bravery. Eventually, the storm subsides, revealing their passage along a radiant rainbow. The boy inquires about the other end of the rainbow, discovering a magnificent castle in view. Prompted by Browne, the boy keenly observes his surroundings, marveling at wondrous sights. From a pool, 3 maidens materialize, clutching a ring, while enchanting music fills the air. The narrative then jumps forward, finding the boy in disgrace, back in his nursery at home. His parents dismiss his tale of the Celestial Omnibus, deeming it a fabrication, and impose the punishment of memorizing poetry. Apparently, he had returned home at sunset on a bus driven by an unnamed maiden. Following dinner, the boy's parents summon him downstairs, where they share his omnibus story with Mr. Bones, their dinner guest. Although Mr. Bones is polite, he adopts a condescending tone, likening the boy's account of the maidens and the rainbow to Wagner's Der Ring des Nibelungen. To entertain their guests, the boy's parents request him to recite a poem by Keats. Bones interjects, urging the boy to continue with the next line. Overwhelmed with emotion, the boy breaks into tears, proclaiming that yesterday the poem was merely a string of rhyming words, but today, the poetry resides within him, and every word rings true. Mr. Bones, although unable to comprehend the boy's meaning and skeptical of his story, asserts his unwavering belief in the essential truth of poetry. The boy confesses that he was tempted to remain at the destination of the Celestial Omnibus, but was instructed to surrender his ticket if he wished to return home. He had hoped to convince his parents to join him, but now realizes they won't go because they doubt his words. Despite his skepticism, Mr. Bones agrees to accompany the boy to the bus stop. This time, a different bus arrives, drawn by 3 horses, with Dante as the driver. Above the door, the inscription reads, "Abandon all self-importance, ye who enter here, lasciate ogni baldanza voi che entrate." Mr. Bones, rather than heeding the warning, insists that the inscription is incorrect and should be "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here, lasciate ogni speranza voi che entrate." His lack of imagination hinders his understanding of the change. The boy shares stories of his encounters with various individuals from his previous journey, including literary characters like Mrs. Gamp and Tom Jones. Mr. Bones complains that the experience was wasted on him, for someone of his intellectual stature would not waste time with such characters but would engage in conversations with highbrow figures like those from Shakespeare or Homer. He lectures the boy, urging him to behave upon their arrival, and confiscates both return tickets. Then, the boy spots their destination and calls out in excitement. However, Mr. Bones sees nothing. As he gazes out the window, he is overcome with sickness and terror at the sight of Achilles standing guard at the gate. He cries out, confessing that he sees nothing, and pleads with Dante to take him back home, proclaiming, "I have honored you. I have quoted you. I have bound you in vellum." However, Dante solemnly responds that he is the food and not the life and cannot offer salvation. Mr. Bones steps off the bus and falls through the seemingly solid rock, plummeting to the ground far below. Meanwhile, the other inhabitants of the celestial realm crown the boy with leaves, signifying his place among them. The story concludes with a brief newspaper excerpt reporting the discovery of Mr. Bones' mysteriously mutilated body in an alleyway, with foul play suspected. The Celestial Omnibus serves as Forster's cautionary tale against intellectual arrogance embodied by Mr. Bones, whose name is a clever reversal of snob, and emphasizes the intrinsic value of literature and poetry. It aligns with Forster's recurring theme of prioritizing human connection over societal repression. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.